Hi, Tobias, and I think we're live. Hi, how are you?
What's up, Isabella? I am doing fantastic. I'm excited to actually meet your audience and speak to everybody and just literally get out here and show some of my wonderful experiences. So it's great to have you.
Well, today's all about you and your journey and where it all started, and giving the viewers at home some tips and tricks as to how they can turn into a man machine like you, or a female machine, if that's what they want to be called, or a they machine. I don't know. But tell us where it all started, should I say.
Yeah, love it. It all started, I gotta say, way back when I was a kid. I grew up without a father around, and so it was just me and my mom. It was a single mom. She was, working very hard. Sometimes she had two different jobs, and we were moving around a lot, right? So like every 6 months, we were moving to a new place. So it was really hard for me to, really being able to connect people, have friends. I didn't have a male role model in my life, so I felt kind of lost. So my mom noticed that. And when when I was 10 years old, she actually reached out to the Big Brothers program. So it's a Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it. And we got connected with my big brother. And he became the male role model that I needed, that really helped me develop and grow into the person that I am today. So at 11 years old, we started actually intermittent, he would take me to basketball or baseball games and so forth. But then he started getting me into the gym, working out a little bit, right? When I was 12, he saw like, oh my gosh, this guy is serious. He has a lot of drive. He got me a gym membership. So he got me my first gym membership, paid for some personal training lessons to help me get started. From there, I fell in love with it. I literally fell in love with working out. It became my passion. So ever since 12 years old, I've been basically addicted to the gym in a good way. It's been my good addiction. Some people get addicted to drugs, some people alcohol. To me, it's the gym. I can't go too long without having my workouts, or I don't feel the same. And then from there, it's like the door opened up with so many opportunities. I mean, I got into the fitness industry, started working back in 1999 as a personal trainer, and very quickly, rose up the ranks in the corporate gym world and helped some of the big fitness chains, develop their personal training departments and manage gyms. And then, I got sponsored by Optimum Nutrition, which was the largest supplement sports nutrition manufacturer in the world. And I was on the cover of magazines and every single fitness magazine. And then I competed because I loved it. My body was transforming. And, from 2002 to 2017, I competed every single year. I became an IFBB pro. I competed on some of the biggest stages. And now I'm a business coach, and I actually help fitness professionals build their business online. And I still do, fitness coaching as well. So it's been a long journey, but it's been a fruitful journey. And I can say I basically owe it all to my big brother getting me started in the gym, working out at, 11 and 12 years old.
Right, so we don't have a Big Brother project, as far as I know, in the UK. Tell us a little bit more about that, and what could have happened to you if you hadn't had that influence.
Yeah, so I had some other friends that I was connected with at the same time, and especially when I was an early teenager, and they went down the wrong path, right? So I believe 3 or maybe 4 of them actually ended up going into prison. So just to be perfectly blunt. So a lot of various different things. I ended up going the other direction, where I focused more on sports, athletics, get into that. I was never really big into school. I did pretty good in school, but it wasn't like my big forte. It wasn't something I looked forward to. I just wanted to do, work out and do sports and so forth. And so from that, it kind of drove. But as far as the Big Brothers program and Big Sisters program, it's designed for people that don't have either a father, or, for women sometimes, or for girls, it's a mother. Like sometimes, mothers are killed, or they're abandoned, or, they get put up for adopt. Like there's all those different type of things. And to have a program like that, which literally gives you a base foundation and have a role model and to help you grow up and succeed. And it doesn't take much. It's not like he was with me every single day. Maybe it was once every other week, but we would get together. We would go, shoot baskets, play basketball, or we would go, toss the baseball around, go to a school, or, he would take, like I said, he would take me to the San Francisco Giants games, and we'd go there and just have fun. And I remember all the big names, and I used to absolutely love it. And I would look forward to working out because I was like, man, I couldn't wait till I could lift as much weight that I could lift as far as him, right? I remember when I was lifting like half the amount of weight that he was lifting, he was doing like curls and so forth. And then as I developed and as he started to age, it was like it flipped, right? Where he wasn't lifting like half the amount. And it was just kind of like, something that we both kind of laughed about, because it's like, yeah, you remember when I was a kid and that happened. But literally, it's something that can change your life. And if you don't have a program, like that in the UK, it's something, hey, it's never too late to actually try to start something like that. Or maybe you can look into it. Maybe there is something that's similar that's just called something a little bit different. But it's literally for people that don't have that father figure or mother figure in their life.
I'll have a look into it. But from what you've just said, I think your big brother gave you that competitiveness in life. Now, how important is that for bodybuilding?
Oh, as a bodybuilding competitor, it's a competition, right? And it's an individual sport. So it's not like basketball where, hey, you might not be as good, the rest of the team can carry you or whatever it is. If you don't feel good, you can sit out for the games. No, in bodybuilding, you literally start like 12 to 16 weeks out, and you completely like devote your life to getting in your peak condition. And some people competed against other competitors, and they used to ask me like, hey, aren't you, scared to go and compete against this guy and this guy and this guy, especially when I turned pro? And I'm like, you know what? I don't even know those names. I don't follow them. I competed against myself. Like if I do the best that I can myself, I'm happy. Like that's what drives me, is like being the best version of myself. And every single year, what I would do is I would just work on improving what I wanted to work on. Like, initially starting off with, like, my back was like underdeveloped, and like no matter how hard I trained back, I couldn't get my lats to come out and develop. And over time, it was like, yes, I'm starting to get it. Or, maybe it's the shoulders where you can cap them out, or for some people, it's the legs or the calves. And it could be something that you actually just want to bring the best version of yourself out and have something to drive for. Because if we don't have anything that we're kind of shooting for, it could be anything in life. Like we can get complacent, right? And then we just want to sit down and watch TV and binge on Netflix all day. But if you have something that you're driving for, it gives you that extra little motivation to wake up in the morning like, hey, I'm going to tackle the day. I'm going to freaking conquer it because this is what I want to work on for the day. And for some people, it's their business, and other people, it's their physiques and so forth.
So goal setting was a really important part of it for you, wasn't it? Because you can't just wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to be the best self ever without setting some form of goal. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Every single year, like my main goal, to tell you the truth, and it wasn't like, I would always try to win the show, right? I would be the best version of myself. But as long as I gave it 100%, then I knew that I was winning. I knew that I was a winner in my book. So whether I took 5th place, but I gave it my all, but I had my best condition, I was like, I literally gave it everything I had. I'm freaking happy with how everything came out. Or there's been times where I've taken 1st or 2nd place, and I was like, man, I could have came in sharper. I could have done better. And then I'm mad at myself, right? So it's literally my goal was to be a better version of myself. And now my goals have switched, right? So I still work out every single day. It's still a huge part of my life, a part of my habits, a part of my routine. But my main focus now isn't to have like the best physique in the world or anything like that. My main goal is to be able to provide for my family and improve my business and being able to help the fitness coaches and the personal trainers that, are in my program. Like I want to help them succeed. I want to help my family succeed. I want to help, everybody else. And at the same time, that's going to give me my instant gratification where if I know I'm contributing, then I'm going to feel really freaking good. So that's my main goal right now, is continuously like kind of pushing there to see what I can do to elevate the business or elevate the people around me as well.
So we'll come back to your business in a bit. I just want to go back, and you're saying you want to give it your 100%. Now that involves a load of things. That involves diet, that involves sleep, water and hydration. What sort of diet do you normally take?
Yeah, so before we connected, obviously, as coming from a bodybuilding background, protein is going to be a primary constituent where you're looking, it's like you're reading, okay, I want to make sure I get my 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal or whatever, whatever the macronutrient, needs are for your body. And so literally I was very structured with that. And, when I used to compete, I used to measure every little thing that I ate. Now I don't do that anymore. I just literally look to make sure it has, I look for, the right type of ingredients. I want to have, whole foods as much as possible. If you can have single ingredient foods, that's going to be so much better. If you can't pronounce the words of the ingredients on the back of the box or whatever it is, it's probably not going to be the best thing for you, right? There's probably all kind of different nitrates and all different type of things in there. So like literally what I would do is I would base it around, getting your protein, your carb, and then having your vegetable, for each meal, and then just kind of spacing it out. With me personally, I would eat every, 2.5 to 3 hours. As I was competing, it was like every 2 hours. That's insane. So I'm not like that anymore. But breaking it down, and then, I saw a movie called The Game Changers, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that. And this is one that has to do with people that actually go through a transformation eating only plant-based foods. And there's like NFL teams, there's MMA stars that are in there, and how their body responds. So their energy levels, their strength levels, their blood circulation, their testosterone levels, everything that like literally that you think of can improve in a lot of ways for a lot of people that have, plant-based diets, right? And there's been a lot of studies on that. So that was one of the epiphanies for me. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. So I tried it for a little while, back when I watched the movie, and I was like, man, it was kind of hard for me to be able to eat only plant-based. Like I liked the idea, I like how I felt and those kind of things, but I was like, man, trying to get enough protein and so forth. And then we connected, right? And we're like, okay, let's give it another shot. And now it's been a major staple in as far as what I eat. Like I went like months with only plant-based, right? Feeling incredible. And just the main thing that I noticed with that is that my energy levels were so much higher, more consistent, stable. My moods feel good. I didn't have a lot of, some of those aches and pains that you don't even realize that you kind of have, that you kind of deal with. They kind of went away, and you're just like, wow, I just kind of move better now. It's incredible. So those have been some of the major transformations that I had as soon as I started to increase my plant-based foods inside my diet, which I still do, with plant proteins, powders, and so forth.
So do you need as much sleep when you're on a plant-based diet?
I'll tell you what, like I slept and I sleep better when I increase my plant-based foods. For some reason, if you have, and I've never been a big red meat eater. I'll have some, but I'm just not a red meat eater. Like if I do have, animal products, it was like chicken, it was fish, egg whites, those kind of things. And I know egg whites can, cause some inflammation, for some people and so forth, but it was like leaner proteins in there. And I did notice that my sleep was more sound. Like it's just like you have deeper sleep, you wake up feeling a little bit more refreshed, where you don't feel groggy in the morning, right? Sometimes when you have, other type of foods, like, meats and things in your diets, like you wake up, the aches and pains start to become a little bit more apparent, and you just don't sleep quite as well. So those are some of the main attributes too, like energy, I slept better. And yeah, I probably didn't require as much sleep, but still, was able to work super efficiently with everything.
It's been such a long time since I've actually eaten all that stuff. I can't even remember how it felt. But what I do know is that when I eat plant-based junk food, that includes cupcakes, I will have you know, because I like cupcakes, and plant burgers like Beyond Burgers, Move the Mountain, all those sorts of things. I do have them, but very rarely. But I do notice that I'm really tired after, and the next day I get up and I feel like I've been on the booze, even though I haven't. So what you actually eat is very important. And how has what you've eaten influenced how you've built your muscles? And when you train, do you eat differently when you train for a competition than normally when you're not, because you're not training for competitions now? Is it different?
I've learned how to eat a lot. I mean, I enjoy eating healthy food. Like some people are like, man, don't you crave like ice cream all the time and pizza and all that stuff? And it's like, you know what, if I go to a family gathering, something like that, and and it's the only thing that's around. It's not like I'm going to starve myself. I'll have some, but it's not something that I crave anymore. Right? When I was competing, you get super strict. And then what happens is the main thing is kind of like slowly, you don't want to cut your protein down because you want to maintain your muscle as much as possible. But what you slowly do is you have to either cut your carbs or your fats for the most part, because you have to cut your calories and increase your caloric deficit. So that way you get more body fat off. Because at a competition level, especially at super high levels, like you're getting down to like 3% body fat. So you can't just do that by, eating better foods, but not changing anything else. So it's like you would have to do that. So your energy levels would naturally, go down. You'd have to increase your cardio, do different things to get your energy level, your energy expenditure up, and then your calories down. So that was carbs and fats in there. But those are both so important for you, right? You need carbs like for mental focus and, brain clarity and everything else. And the fats are super important. Your skin, your hair, your nails, everything, just normal hormone regulation, everything else, fat to absorb fat soluble vitamins. So they're key nutrients that you need. So the difference between when I was competing now is I still eat pretty similar foods, like, a lot of quinoa and those type of, foods in there, but it's in higher amounts where I'm not like in an extreme deficit. I'm like able to be, still eat my foods, feel good. And I still like, I feel in my best condition ever, like mental clarity, physically, the strength is there, and I'm 46 years old. And so there's never like a time where it's too late. You can't say, well, I'm in my 40s now, it's too late to, start, doing it. No, it's not. You can do it at any age, like literally. I mean, as well as I do, there's people that are 70, 80 years old for the very first time starting plant-based or, starting their exercise routines. And all it's going to do is help out for the rest of your life on where you're at. And you can always progress from wherever you're at. So never think that it's too late. Bam.
No, that's right. And I was talking to Dr. Furman last week, and he said, as long as you're still breathing, it's not too late.
There you go. Yeah.
So when you're training for a competition, how do you bulk up?
Well, when you're training for a competition, it's not bulking up. You're actually like stripping off the body fat. So you're trying to maintain as much muscle. And then the off season is like a bulk up stage where you try to, then you increase your calories, you change up the training a little bit. And what you're trying to do is put on as much muscle as you can without putting on too much fat, because then when you do your next competition, it's like the more fat that you have, the harder it is to like get you back down. And if you put on too much fat, like sometimes people like, they literally go on these bulking diets where they have like extreme amount of calories and they pack on all this body fat, and then it makes it so hard for them to diet down. Whereas if you stay, fairly lean and healthy in the off season, it makes it, so much easier where your prep is easier. Your prep time is so much quicker. Your energy levels are all there. You're not having to like go like with drastic calorie, restrictions or anything like that. So that's one thing that I noticed, because when I first started competing, I didn't really pay attention to that as much. Right? Where I would just, I would eat kind of like whatever I wanted after my shows. And then I would go on like these extreme diets, and it was kind of yo-yo. So it wasn't even really the healthiest. And then later on in my career is when I really started to change things up and just eat healthy 100%, of the time. And I was always pretty healthy, but, I would go through my little stages, like right after the show where you just kind of splurge for too long. It was too long for me. I would have sometimes like water retention where my ankles would be swollen because I would like have so much sodium and carbs like right after my shows and stuff, which is not good. So
the reason I asked the question that way is because I've got an image in my brain of somebody sitting on the sofa at home watching Netflix thinking, well, maybe I want to look like him. And they're just starting from scratch. But you can't just go from as you are now to lean and tones. You've got to bulk up and then cut back down. So my next question was going to be, how do you get rid of the fat once it's there? Apart from cardio, which everybody hates.
Great questions. I mean, nutrition is going to be the main thing. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to find out what's called your maintenance caloric intake. And what that means is basically how many calories do you need to take in order for you to maintain your weight, right? So if you're 200 pounds, if you take in 3,000 calories a day, you're going to maintain your weight. So once you know that number, and there's different calorie calculators that you can use, which you're going to take in like how much muscle you have, your activity level and so forth. Just type in like, calorie calculator and you'll probably find it. in Google. But from there, what we want to do is we want to create a deficit, right? You don't want it to be a crazy deficit. If your maintenance calories is 3,000, then maybe you can start with the 500, caloric deficit where you're, taking in 2,500 calories, right? So then you're going to be in a deficit of 500 calories every single day. So 500 calories times 7 is what? 3,500. So 3,500 calories is the same amount of calories it takes to burn 1 pound of body fat. So according to science, if nothing else changes, there's no other variables that change. If you cut 500 calories out, you maintain your muscle mass, your activity level is everything else is the same. Hormone levels are all the same. Then you will lose 1 pound of fat every single week. Okay. Then on top of that, if you start to do strength training or increase your muscle mass or do, increase your activity levels, let's just say that's 500 more calories in the other direction where you burn 500 more calories a day. Now you're going to be in a deficit of 1,000 calories a day, right? 500 from food, 500 from activity. That's going to put you in a 7,000 calorie deficit per week. Does that make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be equivalent to 2 pounds of fat every single week that you're going to burn off without anything changes. And keep in mind that the more muscle that you add on, and yes, women, muscle is going to be important. Don't be scared to do strength training if you are women. It is not going to make you big and bulky, right? What it will do is be able to help you firm and tone and burn off more body fat. So long story short is that will help you burn 2 pounds of fat off every single week. And over time, what's going to happen is your body will shrink in size. So even if you don't see a huge difference on the scale, that's not the most important thing. It's how you look in the mirror, how your clothes fit. Your clothes are going to fit you bigger or better. And the reason why is because muscle is so much more dense than fat. So, for example, if a pound of fat is this big, a pound of muscle is going to be this big. So if you replace a pound of fat with a pound of muscle, everything is going to, shrink on you. Basically, you're going to lose size, but your muscles are going to be now firm. So instead of everything being like loose and flabby, you're all of a sudden going to have this muscle tone. You're going to be able to actually go, oh my gosh, it's more firm now, right? And so that is some of the great benefits of strength training. And then every pound of muscle that you put on top of that is going to burn about 30 to 50 extra calories a day at rest. So just having more muscle on your body will help you burn more body fat, even if you don't change a thing with your diet. So the thing that I would say first off is to obviously get yourself in a caloric deficit. Doesn't have to be a big one, small one. Start doing your strength training, right? And there's different types of rep ranges and all those kind of things. Don't worry about it too much. I just want you to get active. I just want you to get moving. If you're brand new to this, then you can start off with 3 days a week, doing some full body workouts. If you're a little bit more, advanced, then you can do, 4 or 5 days a week. And you can start to break it up into upper, lower body, push, pull, body part splits, all different type of things. But you know what, you can always, start working with a fitness coach or a personal trainer or an online coach or whatever you want if you need help with an actual program. But literally the first thing that you need to do is tell yourself, I'm tired of where I'm at now. I need to make a change. And if I keep doing what I've always done, then I'm going to keep being the same way that I've always been. So I need to just bite the bullet, get some help, start, with some type of a program. And that's the way that you're going to be able to see success. And then over time, it's going to be a time thing. Don't try to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, right? It's going to take some time. So be patient, be consistent, and then you will reach those goals. But have a coach to help you guide you through the way too. That's one of the best things that I can tell you about.
I have a coach, and what he's good for is telling me just one more. And it's never, ever one more, is it? It's like another 5 because the first 5 were rubbish. And your posture's rubbish, and your elbows are too far out, and that's what a coach does for you. Actually says you need to be in this position at this time, doing this thing, and you're doing it not correctly. But you can't see, even if there's lots of people in the gym and they're looking at themselves in the mirror all the time, but they're too busy looking at themselves that they're not looking at the posture and not getting the movements right. So anyway, back to the topic at hand after that rant. Some people might say, that's great, Tobias, but we're going to lose this fat. How do I not lose the muscle?
That's another great benefit of strength training, because strength training will keep that muscle mass or increase it, right? What happens if we cut our calories too much is one of the things that our body is going to do is naturally start to burn off the muscle tissue. And the reason why is because fat just kind of sits on the body. It burns calories, but at a very small rate, right? Muscle burns off, like I was saying, a lot of calories. So your body, if it's going into a starvation mode, if your body thinks that it's starving itself, it's going to say, I'm going to get rid of this muscle to keep my body alive, because the muscle is burning so many calories. I need to survive. So if you're eating frequently, you're not like skipping meals or going all day without eating, and then, that's going to obviously can start to trigger some of those mechanisms too, or eating too few calories. Then your body can burn off muscle really fast, because your body is still thinking it's in that starvation mode. So as long as you constantly feed your body adequate calories, you do your strength training to maintain or increase your muscle mass, that's going to be the way that you're going to be able to maintain that. And here's the thing that I wanted to say too about when you do end up working with somebody to help you through this. There's 4 things that they're going to help you out with. It's called MASK. It's motivation, accountability, structure, and knowledge. And those are 4 of the things that most people struggle with, either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those things. And that's what a really good coach is going to help you with. So they're going to keep you motivated, where there's going to be those days when you feel like quitting, you feel like giving up, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I can do this. A coach is going to say, get your ass up. You are going to do this. We have goals that we are going to hit. We got this, right? They're going to motivate you and then hold you accountable. Like, if they have a program where, you're training, so many days a week, it's going to be like, they're going to be following up, making sure that you're doing it. Then you're going to have the structure. So you're going to know exactly what you need to be doing step by step. Okay, these are the exercises that we're going to work on. This is going to be the rep range. We are going to attack it, right? And then there's the knowledge. Obviously, a good coach is going to give you constant knowledge. So you're going to be learning the why behind why you're doing everything, as opposed to just like, do this, do this, do this. This is why we are doing this, because it's going to help with this and so forth. So just wanted to throw that out there. But as far as the actual muscle mass, keep the protein intake up. Obviously, you want to have a good amount of protein, and keep that strength training in. And for those of you who are asking, well, how much protein should I have? Well, there's different ranges depending upon if you're sedentary, if you're active, or if you're an athlete, right? If you're an athlete, or sometimes even if you're an older population, you're actually going to need more protein, right? Because your actually protein synthesis goes down as we age too. So sometimes we need to increase the protein, and then you're going to need a little bit more. It could be like 1.5 to 1.8 to even 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So almost a pound of protein, or a gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you are like high performing athlete, is going to be, the high level that you can do. You don't need that much, but that's kind of like the high level. If you're more just kind of like recreational, it might be like 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. And if you're very sedentary, you can even have less than that, right? And these are just general guidelines. So it's going to take into consideration your, other things that you're doing, how active you are, your body type, right? And then also how much protein and carbs you're having. Because if you don't have very many carbs in your diet, your body will actually break down protein and through a process called gluconeogenesis, where it actually takes the protein, breaks it down, and converts it into glucose for you if there's not enough carbohydrates, right? But if you have enough carbohydrates are protein sparing. So if you have a higher carbohydrate diet, you don't need as much protein. So there's a lot of different variables that go in there, but those numbers that I just told you will be kind of like guesstimations that you can start with.
I say you can't go wrong with quinoa and bulgur wheat, beans, spirulina, I can never say this word, chlorella, however you say it. Anyway, you can't go wrong with those sorts of things, including chia seeds, which are also amazing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to you. What are you doing now?
As far as what, nutrition, training, what area would you like to know about?
All of it.
Okay.
Well, start off with you. You've already said you train every day religiously, because that's who you are. It's ingrained in you. And then you became a fitness instructor, and now you're a Fit Pro mentor.
Yeah. So I'm a business coach for fitness professionals. So obviously there's so much need, especially with everything that's gone on with COVID, to get help for people that need the help, right? And now a lot of people are scared to either go in the gyms, or the gyms are shut down, or they're not, they're kind of like timid, like, yeah, I don't want to catch COVID. I don't want to have a personal trainer that's kind of like right in my face. And so now online training is huge. Like literally that's like, it's about 10 years worth of growth that all got condensed into like 6 months time when COVID hit. Like everybody had to decide like either give up your personal training business or, hey, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to still help people, but I'm going to do it, online. And I've been lucky enough to, be way ahead of the curve. I've been an online fitness coach for 13 years. So I started a long time ago. And now literally what I do is I help, personal trainers and fitness professionals actually learn how to build out a successful online fitness business. Right. So we work on all the fundamentals and templates so they can help more people and have more impact and get their time freedom back. And, obviously, financially, it's nice too. And you can literally pick up your laptop and you can go to Hawaii and still get all your work done when you're an online trainer. It's amazing. So there's a lot of really good benefits. And then the clients love it too, because, they don't have to worry about that contact and they about, well, can you do 8? No, I can't do 8. Can you do 5? And there's, you don't have to worry about any of those time conflicts anymore. And then there's also a lot more time to help out with habits and lifestyle changes and nutrition and the actual coaching aspect. Whereas in person with personal training, a lot of times it's like, just the training aspect where you're, in a rush to train, this exercise. Okay, bye. I have my next client now. I'll see you later. And then they're off on their own. Whereas when you have an online fitness coach, they're going to be with you pretty much in the back pocket, like 7 days a week to get all the help that you need. So you can actually give, as an online coach, so much more value and so much more help to your clients, and the clients love it too, right? Because it's more affordable and they're able to get a lot more help and actually better results than they would, with in a lot of circumstances than in-person training. So that's what I do now is I help fit pros with that.
So you're obviously really in favor of online coaching, and you can see that there's a growth market there. What would you say to a person that's thinking about becoming an online fitness trainer but doesn't know where to start?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that you can do is just decide like, hey, this is something that I want to do, and then work with a coach to help you. Like the best way that you can become successful at anything is to actually get some help from somebody who's been there and done that already, right? It's that way you're not throwing, this is the first thing that I was doing. Like my first 5 years, I was doing what's called throwing spaghetti at the wall. I was like trying this, and that didn't work, and this didn't work. And I literally learned like a million things on what doesn't work. And there's very few things, and it takes a long time to be able to find out what does work. And it wasn't until I actually said, okay, I need to hire myself a coach and actually teach me how to do this. And then that's, I've gone through a lot of different mentors. And so from there, that's when my business just skyrocketed and I was able to help and get that clarity on everything, the whole process in order to do that. So like, no matter who it is, just, you can research, do all your research, find somebody, if that's, the route that you want to go, who's actually been successful at that. And then, just reach out and talk to somebody, have conversations, because you want to make sure, just like your client, relationship that you have now, is they're going to be interviewing you to make sure that you're a good personal trainer, right? You got to make sure there's, that kind of synergy in there, because sometimes personalities don't mix, or, philosophies. And, you might have a personal trainer that's like dead set on keto, and you're like, I'm not keto, I'm vegetarian or vegan or whatever it is. So you got to make sure that you guys are on the same page. And then from there, like literally just have a conversation and take it from there. And then that's how you can basically get started. And there's so many different programs out there that can help you, like literally tons of them out there. Some really, really good ones too. So if that's something you want to do, you can feel free to reach out to me. I can point you in the right direction if you want. So no big deal.
My coach is not vegan, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
He's now down to fish and chicken. So, that's progress.
Yes, that's awesome. That's good.
So for anybody looking for an online fitness trainer, what would you suggest for them? Because there are so many people out there, and there's so many different schools of thought and ways of doing things. What's the number one thing that you would say to them?
As far as if it's a client looking to get a personal trainer, like an online trainer, the first thing that you can do is maybe join, there's a lot of different Facebook groups out there, and you can literally like join a Facebook group if you want to kind of like get a feel for some of the things. You want to make sure that you interview. You can always go for like reviews and see who, has really good reviews, right? You can do some basic research. Reviews will tell you a lot, because if somebody doesn't have any reviews, or it's like very, few reviews, or it's mixed reviews, then there's probably a reason for that. right? Where if someone is doing, very successful and they have a lot of really high level reviews and testimonials, and that's going to be great too. And just being able to reach out to that coach, and if they're, in the state where they're just open for a conversation where you can kind of interview them, that's going to be the best thing. Interview them, ask them questions, ask them, what their philosophies are, ask them how long they've been doing it, ask them about, some successful, success stories, if they have any testimonials or case studies or anything that you can check out too. So you don't have to rush into it, right? But here's the thing too, is you don't want to wait too long, because the longer that you wait, the longer that it is that, we stay stuck in the area that we are. And there's a reason that we're staying stuck. Is because a lot of us are hard-headed, including myself in the past, where I was like, I want to try to figure this out on my own. But if you've been trying to do this for 5 years or whatever it is, and you still haven't gotten there, there's a reason for that. So just reach out and get the help, right? Like I said, there's a lot of different ways that you can go online and do your Google reviews and search for a really good fitness coach. And like I said, I know a lot of really good fitness coaches. So if you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'll point you in the right direction on some people you can too.
So one of the things I come across quite often is I can't. And Napoleon Hill said, if the mind can think and perceive it, you can actually do it.
Yeah.
What are some of the barriers, do you think, to people actually getting a coach and getting on with it and then becoming a coach because they're so involved in it? What do you think some of the barriers could be?
Yeah, some of the best coaches are actually had their own transformations themselves. And that's why a lot of people actually first got into coaching, because maybe they were overweight, as a kid, and then they had this epiphany moment, and they're like, when they turn, 18 years old, they're like, I gotta lose this weight, or maybe it's 20 something years old, and then they hire their own personal trainer that they kind of got them through those sticking points, and they're like, oh my God, this is fantastic, I love it. And then they learned exactly, what the struggles are that they're going through, what the emotional feelings are, the different ways, nutritionally, where they can actually help somebody else and training wise, and how to break out of plateaus. And then literally just taking that same knowledge and then increasing the knowledge. And there's lots of different certifications out there that are really good too. So getting yourself really high quality certifications, NASM, ISSA, there's a lot of really good ones out there. Get that knowledge in yourself, and then it becomes like second nature. Then you can literally wake up in the morning and be excited to actually start helping people. Like literally, I wake up every single morning, like just ready to take on the day. I never have those days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to help people today. Like it sucks. No, it's like you wake up in the morning. It's not like, going to a warehouse job that you hate, where you're like at a cannery and you're just doing repetitive things all day. And you're like, oh my God, this is terrible. No, you're out there helping people crush their goals. They'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, man, once you start to get these messages from your clients, and they're like, I lost another 5 pounds. I'm so excited. I just put on these jeans that I haven't been able to wear in 2 years. Thank you so much. Like, it's literally some of the best feelings that you can have, right? So if that's kind of like your motivation and you like to help people, then this is probably going to be a really good fit for you. If you don't like spending the time to be able to help people and you just like to work out yourself, that's perfectly cool too. There's always going to be that where you can just make it your own lifestyle. But if you're like, hey, let me actually give this a shot, maybe, because I love to be able to help people. If you have friends that you're helping out and family members that you're helping out, and they're all kind of asking you like nutrition and workout tips, and you're like, hey, maybe I can get paid doing something like this, then hey, it may be, a sign where you just like reach out and start maybe doing some research for yourself to start becoming a trainer yourself, which is great.
Great, thank you. So is there anything you'd like to add before we say farewell? For now?
My thing is I love to help people. So if you guys have any questions at all, you can feel free to reach out to me anytime. My Instagram is Tobias Young, the number 1, or Facebook is just Tobias Young. Any questions, big, small, I take them all. I'm just here to help out and to, help serve and anything that I can do to help you out. And if not, perfectly cool. I hope you got some value. If you got some value from today, give me a #value in the comments below. If you have any questions too, that are in there, you can feel free to post them in the comments, and Isabella can actually let me know, and I can come back and answer any questions that you have to. But I just want to thank you so much for having me here. It's been great. I hope to see all of you guys, on another level. Hopefully you guys connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, social, whatever it is. Here to help you guys have an amazing rest of your week. You guys, I usually end my coaching calls with a flex. Bam, let's go. All right, you guys. Hope you guys are flexing right now. There you go, Isabella. All right. Thanks for having me, Isabella.
Tobias. I'll put a link to your Facebook group below as well.
Yeah, so I do have the Online Fit Pro community. It's a Facebook group for anybody who's just wanting to maybe decide about the possibilities of becoming an online fitness coach. Then you can jump into the Online Fit Pro community. We'd love to have you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you for having me.